Good morning. Yeah. Good morning. Oh, yeah, I should be here doing. I'm warming up. Yes, yes. Good morning, everybody. The Sunday morning inspirational is happening right now. Unction in the building. Oh man. Yes. As you see, we go right. We go right to the book. We go right to the book. First Sunday of every month, Sunday morning inspiration. Unction in the building. In my father's house. Oh man. Yes, 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 yes. Good morning, everybody. No, this ain't no. Nah, man, this is just if you're inspired and you feel that there's something out there greater than you. Yes, good morning. Psalms 21, the King rejoices in your strength, and how great is his joy in the victories that you give. Let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Tanya Ray, good morning, sister. Love you, sister. Love you, Tanya Ray. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. When I think about Jesus, what he's done wow. For me. When I think about Jesus, let's listen to a little music before we get started this morning. Let's go, y'all. Yes. 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 Good morning, everybody. Sunday morning inspirational. Let's go, y'all. Turn up. Let's go. Give praise. Give thanks. Let's go. Yes. Ascribe to the Lord, you heavenly beings. Ascribe to the Lord the glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord, to his glory, his name. Give him his due. In my Father's house. Wow, we're getting there, ain't we? Ain't we? Ain't we getting there? Ain't we getting there? Good morning, everybody. This is the Raw Perspective Morning Emails Sunday Inspiration. I tell you, this morning's conversation, there's a couple of things I want to talk about this morning. But as I speak more about things now that I get to spend time with my sons, and I find the importance of guiding them, right, and teaching them and preparing them for the world. And I see that the world, as it becomes more fickle and more flawed as we move forward in our lives, I start to analyze things and really get to understand who we are. And it taught me about it brought me to something that Jesus was having a conversation, and he was having a conversation. He said, "Let not your heart be troubled. In God, believe in me. In my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and I go and prepare a place. And if I go and prepare. I'm sorry, guys. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, you know the way you know." Thomas said unto the Lord, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Still, we doubt it, right? Thomas still doubted him. He still doubted him. He said, how do we know? Good morning. I know you like the music, TD. Today's conversation is a dual conversation. As I have my sons over and as I'm guiding them, I realized there were things that they didn't know. There are things that my sons don't know. They only know life from the time they were born as they start to understand the world. They don't know about the man I was before they were born. They don't know who I am in the scheme of this world. They only know life through the eyes of me and their mother. And then as they start to gain experiences in life, and I find that is a very there's just parity in that. There's so much parity in that as we start to conversate about what we know and what we know in life. We only know life the way we see it. We don't look at it from the view of God. God's view is it's a bigger view. He can look and see our path. So when he laid out these breadcrumbs to our path, he sees us deviating from the path constantly. We always deviate, just like my sons. They deviate from the path, constantly deviating from where they could be, who their opportunities are, what they could do right. And then for me as a father, I always tend to bring them back into the path. Hey, no, let's do this. Let's work on this. And then they become more obedient as time goes, or they become less obedient as time goes. This is just the nature of children. You know that. But it teaches us something because we as adults, we tend to stray from the path a lot. We stray a lot from the path. We don't because we start to formulate in our minds what obedience is. We start to formulate in our mind what's important, things like idol worship and all the things that we tend to feel is more important than what our life is. We tend to then fall away from the teachings, our original teachings. We fall away from God. We fall away from the book. We fall away from the commandments that God gave us. April Leon, good morning. We fall away from these things. And sometimes we get caught up. And just like our children, God has to give us rules, except the difference is God has already given us rules as adults. So we know better so that we can then keep our children in line. I'll read that again. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that there I am, that ye may be also. And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know. Thomas then still said unto the hint, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, so how can we know the way? And when he was telling him, just follow me, Jesus was just telling him. He was telling him, just follow me and I'll get you there. It sounds familiar. It sounds like we always seem to find ways in which we try to doubt the path. We get caught up in things. That's my sons. They get caught up. They get caught up in things like, oh, I can play my video game now, as opposed to doing the chores that my father had laid out for me. Because in my mind, the chores that I'm laying out for my children are going to prepare them for the world that they are going to get into. especially being, good morning, Toby, especially being young black men that they're going to be. Young black men in this world today are going to be just like the Israelites in Egypt. They're going to be tested. As you can see, daily we're being tested. We are being tested for our strength, for our fortitude, for our ability to overcome obstacles in this country. Very similar to what's happening in Egypt. So we find that we find that in this test, we have to prepare them. So the things that we teach them, like chores and just working through problems and problem solving, we find that we have to give them more than what is normally required in a normal society. Where in, and I'm not going to make this a white and black thing this morning, because that's not what I'm talking about. Because when we move back into the space, when we go back, when we all get to heaven, I don't think white and black is going to be a conversation that we're going to be having with our Father, with our Maker. But as it pertains in this world, whether it be the Israelites or the Egyptians, you knew that you had to teach the Israelite men how to handle the world living in an oppressed society, how you had to move, how you had to live. And so the confidence of the Egyptian citizen would have had more confidence, and he would have moved around with more ease than the Israelite, than the Israeli slave in the 400 years that they were in Egypt. It would have been a reality. Just like today, African Americans, though not enslaved in America, but they are a smaller population living within a larger population. So we teach our sons how to live within this society. We teach our sons, in other words, there was a conversation that they were having about how our white sisters can prepare their kids, their children for society by just raising their boys, and they prepare. Whereas black women have to learn to teach their boys how to protect themselves from society. There's a difference between preparing and protection. In my Father's house. This is how we lead into this conversation this morning. Very interesting. So I find parity in the conversation of me being a father and trying to get the obedience of my children, trying to get them to do their chores, trying to get them to, when they come to their father's house, know that there is a place for them in their father's house. And when they get into their father's house, just know that I have prepared a place for them, but I need them to do tasks. I need them to understand that this is going to make you stronger and a better person when you get to your father's house, so that you'll become an angel of asset in your father's house. Interesting. When we start to have this conversation, CJ Dove, good morning. Welcome. And I'm just listen, I'm not going to stay here on the conversation with my sons, but it does draw parity. It does draw parity. Listen, let not your heart be troubled, believe in God. John 14, chapter 14, verse 2. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you. I go prepare a place for you. And if I go prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know. Thomas said unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest. Sounds like my sons. But why do I got to do this, Dad? Why do I got to do it? Why do I got to do it? There's a larger mission here. and a larger point to this conversation this morning. Good morning, everybody. This is your boy Uncle. This is Sunday Morning Inspirational. For those that don't know, I do this every first of the month, and I spend time just communicating some Bible scriptures and things that sort of, that we can parry today. And today's conversation is going to be about idol worship. So just stay with me for a second, because I was just going off on this conversation about preparing yourselves and having faith as you believe, as you know, if you stay the course and have faith, those of us that are closer to my Father's house can understand what it means. It's harder to see when you're back down the road, but as you get closer to my Father's house, you start to understand. Wait a minute, there is more to life than me. There is more to life than this shell. There is more to life than this body. And what now is more important. What I do now is more important for those that come behind me than it is for those that are in front of me, because I have a purpose and where I'm going to. Ultimately, I am going to my Father's house, and my Father is preparing a place for me. So while I'm on my way to my Father's house, then allow me to do everything that I need to do to prepare myself to reside in those many mansions. Wow, think about it. Think about it this morning. Let's go to the book of Moses. And I want to talk about, there's something that I saw, because now it seems nowadays we have become so much, it almost that we are so titillated by idols. And maybe because of my life in the entertainment business, I'm not so titillated by it. Maybe because I'm, a pioneer in a business that sort of takes your mind off of your everyday struggles, which is what my entertainment business is. It takes you off your real life. It takes you away from, so you can listen to some of the music I put out, and you can listen to some of the artists I work with in this world. But I never looked at it in the context of that being everything. And it seems that in our community, we are dominated by idol worship. It takes me back to the book of Exodus when we start talking about Aaron. The story was when the people saw Moses, who was so long and coming from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods. Who will go before us? Come, make us gods who will go before us, for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt. We don't know what happened to him." Remember, he was up in the mountain for 40 years. You know what I'm saying? Aaron answered him and said, "Take off your gold earrings." And this is Aaron, Moses' brother. There are times, in the Bible, it talked about the relationship with Aaron and Moses. So you would think that Aaron would know better, right? But Aaron answered to them, said, "Take off your gold earrings, take off that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing, and bring them to me." So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made them into an idol cast in the shape of a calf, fashioning it with this tool. And he said, These are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." He made golden idols. Sounds familiar? He made golden idols. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord." So that the next day, the people who rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presents and fellowships. Afterward, they sat down to eat and drink and got up and indulged happily. But then the Lord said to Moses, "Go down because your people..." Just think about this. Moses is up on the Mount Sinai. He's getting the word of God, right? He's getting the commandments. He's getting all the things that he needs to lead these Israeli people onto the next millennia. And while he's up there, God notices, like, okay. Go get your boy. God saying, "Your man's down there doing too much. Your man is down there bugging." He's got all his jewelry. He's out there bugging. He lost his mission. We lost our mission. Think about that. In my father's house. He lost his mission. He's off the path. The Lord said to Moses, go down there because your people who you brought up out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them, and they have made themselves an idol, cast in the shape of a calf. They have borrowed down and sacrificed to it. And he said, these are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. He said, I've seen these people, the Lord said to Moses, and they are stiff-necked people. How many? What's amazing? I got to laugh for a second. What's amazing in this conversation, because this is a book that's thousands of years old. This is a story. The Old Testament is thousands of years old, this story. And how does it line up to the people today? How many stiff-necked people you know out there? I have seen these people, the Lord said to Moses, and they are stiff-necked people. Now leave me alone so that my anger may burn against them and that I may destroy them. Then I will make you into a great nation. He was like, yo, I'm about to turn this over. Moses still fighting for the people, though. Let me just give the story here. Because sometimes if you don't go back and listen and read and understand these stories and how they are in context to what's happening today, if you don't teach your children these stories, it's easy to lose them. It's easy to lose them because we get so caught up in the life that we live in today that we can get lost. When we've been given a guide on how to live, and we've been given a guide on how to live our life morally and ethically and all the things, right? But Moses sought unto the favor of the Lord his God, and he said, why should your anger burn against your people, whom you brought out of Egypt with great power and mighty hand? He's pleading to God to save the lives and not to burn the Israelites. Why should the Egyptians say it was with evil intent that he brought them out to kill them in the mountains and wipe them off the face of the earth? He's pleading to God for mercy. Turn from your fierce anger, O Lord. Relent and do not bring disaster on your own people. Remember your servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, to whom you swore yourself. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the skies. I will give you your descendants all this land I promised them, and it will be their inheritance forever. The Lord then relented and did not bring wrath upon his own people. Wow. Good morning, everybody. I see that today. I see a lot of Aarons out there today who have lost the path, who have gotten caught up. People that I love have gotten caught up and lose the vision on the mission. Our mission, ultimate goal is to get to our Father's house and show the path to our Father's house, those many mansions, so that the people that come behind us, our children, our students, can build a better them and then get back to their Father's house. We are all supposed to go to our Father's house. When I get to my Father's house, I should see Moses, and I should kneel down, not to pray to Moses, because you can't do that. Obviously, God said that you don't pray to him, but I should thank Moses for bending down and praying for mercy for the people of Israel, for their mistakes. And just like Moses, I'm not going to sit here and talk bad about people, because he said, if you pray for mercy for someone, maybe the Lord will find a way to forgive them. So I'm going to spend time today praying for mercy for those that sometimes get off the path, that forget the reason what you're here for, that you go through 3/4 of your life, 2/3 of your life, and you still are not happy. When you know that the next part of your life is to your Father's house, We are all preparing ourselves to go to him at this point. How do we lose that vision of who we are? How do we forget? How do we become Aaron, who's seen the miracles, who dropped the staff and saw it turn into a serpent, who's been shown the miracles of God? Moses' brother sat next to Moses and was able to witness, but he bore witness to all of the miracles that God, the plagues and everything that God showed Egypt and showed Pharaoh through Moses. The parting of the Red Sea and everything that God showed Moses. He showed it to him. How did he lose his mind and say, because you didn't come in the right time, because Moses was up there for 40 years, that we had to pray to the idol? I don't think time is a factor in this space, because you will live in your father's house unto eternity. Unto eternity. I was, just to bring it back home and bring it down to what we're talking about in this world. I watch it. I see a lot of us get caught up. We chase a lot of idols, whether it's clothes, whether it's jewelry, whether it's trinkets, whether it's people. We want those Beyonce tickets. No, listen, I'm not. Let me just break. Yeah. We want those, Think about that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going to see a Beyonce show or whatever the case may be, but it should not be the biggest thing in your life. All you need to be doing is preparing yourself to go to your father's house. Make room in one of those many mansions that your father is going to protect for you. And he's holding his place for you. Don't lose that vision. Don't lose the mission. Don't get sidetracked and get caught up with everything else. Don't get sidetracked and start thinking about what somebody else is doing when you're doing the right thing. I was thinking about the other day. I was like, I could go to this artist or this rapper or this guy or this person. No, you are enough. If you have a plan, if I call this, I remember one of my artists told me one day, I was doing a deal and I was pushing to doing a deal with a famous artist. And I'm not going to tell you who the artist is. And I was against the deal. And I'm gonna tell you this. I didn't want to do the deal. The artist had so many different things going on with him, and I didn't know the artist, and the artist ended up being a nice guy. I ended up liking the guy. To this day, I like the guy. So I talked to my artist because he called me and said, "Hey man, let's talk about doing some business." And I was like, "Okay, we could talk about doing some business." And then he came back to me and. When I told the artist that this guy wants us to do some business with him, and I said, but I gave him my, reservations. I said, nah, man, we should not do this business with this artist because I'm thinking about maybe we would get stained with whatever he's going through. What I thought at the time, I thought we would stain our reputation dealing with this artist. And, my artist said to me, "No, we need to do this because if we get with this artist, then everything is going to be all right." Well, it didn't work out, just so you know, right? It didn't work out for this artist. Because what this artist didn't understand was that he was sufficient. He was enough. He was enough to do what he had to do. He didn't need to have nobody else doing it. He didn't need a segue to get to where he had to go. He was sufficient. Because our job is to give our uniqueness to this planet and then go off to live in our Father's house. If you have a mission, stop looking for gimmicks. Stop looking for tricks. Stop measuring your life and success by anyone else. You understand? I'm looking at right now, and I have 8 rooms going, and I see one of the rooms there's 3 people. One of the rooms is somebody else in another room, whatever the case may be. And then there's people watching and listening. Oh, they watch and listen, trust me. But you know what? I believe there's so much more power in this message than any other big media cast that's out there or newscast that's out there, because I'm speaking directly to you. I'm speaking to the heart of humanity. I'm speaking to the person that understands, and I'm not afraid of anybody's thoughts or who feels a certain way or any large church congregation, because I'm not here for the theatrics. I'm speaking to the point. I'm bringing it down to the very simple reality. Our job here on this planet is to educate and learn and bring and use our individual uniqueness to make those that come behind us better. That's our job. That's our job, to make those that come behind us better. And then we're off to our Father's house. We ought to learn from those, because if my uniqueness makes April better or her uniqueness makes me better, we understand our path. We know where we're going. But if we co-sign in misleading the people, as C. Jubb said, misleading the people and moving them off the path to where they start believing in idols, then we've lost our purpose. That's not what we're here for. We have lost our purpose, because our goal is to find a place in one of those mansions in my Father's house. I look at my sons nowadays, and they come and they spend time with me, and I get to understand. I'm not saying I understand the Almighty's purpose and all the years and all the civilizations that He has to govern and bring them there, but I do understand in some small way my purpose. It's to leave them the breadcrumbs and the path to my Father's house, so that when I get there and their time comes and they get there, I did a good thing. Wow. Wow. Oh, man. Good morning, everybody. This is the Morning Inspiration. Uncle Lays. This is my Father's house. Thank you very much this morning. I don't even know how this, it hit me this morning when I was thinking about it. And it really impressed upon me to have this discussion this morning, because I see a lot of us, we get so caught up with these short periods of momentary victories. I saw one of my guys that I really was a fan of. I watched him, and he started to gloat over his success and berate some of the people that didn't have the same amount of success. And I was like, what? What are you doing? What are we doing? Because the momentary successes we have on this planet is a moment, is a blink. Yes, we shall always be happy about the things we've accomplished. Yeah, the nation of Israel could take a moment and say, we have escaped Pharaoh's wrath, and we can start our new nation now, and we can build our new nation now. But it does not mean that you lose the mission. I'm not here to idolize any man or any woman or anything on this planet. My goal is to be here, leave breadcrumbs, and continue on my path to my Father's house. And if by some way, the things that I might say, good or bad or whatever, influences you or has some effect on you as you move on your path to your Father's house, to our Father's house, then you know what? At the end of it all, I can look back and say, Lays did a good thing. I want to thank everybody for joining me every first of the month as we continue this journey to our Father's house. And if I get there before you, that's a good thing. Or if you get there before me, when I get there, just welcome me and we're going to have a good time.
But as for me, come on, somebody with me. I said, as for me.
Welcome back to Sunday Morning Inspiration. Come on back next month, every first Sunday of the month. Let's all get to our Father's house. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Amen, April.
Anybody grateful? Anybody grateful?
I know I'm grateful.
Is anybody grateful to the Lord?
And I don't need nothing. I'm sufficient. I'm happy.
They're living out in the streets.
Because he's given me everything I needed.
And if it weren't for the grace of God,
thank you very much.
Drug habits,
y'all have a good morning. A solid Sunday morning. Let's go out a little bit with some music. And enjoy Black History Month. My Father's house has many mansions.
No place seems to be so.
And if I should get there before you, April, I'm saving your spot. Kimberly, I can't wait. If I should get there before you. Thank you. When we all get there, what a day it's going to be. What a day. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody say it with me. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. Woo. For everything you've done. For everything you've done. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.